Good afternoon and welcome back to my workbench on another, well, actually it's Friday the 13th. And with any luck I'll actually be able to edit and upload this today, which will be mildly impressive, possibly. Although if you're in America it'll be the 12th, so that might be confusing, but anyway. Yeah, haven't made a video for a while. Other things have happened and gone on, and I just haven't been able to get around to doing it, but hopefully this one will be out shortly. And in case it hasn't become apparent from the array of things on my workbench today, I have in fact got the front bezel surround thing for a laptop screen. I've got some screws, I've got a laptop, and I've got a box from eBay, so put all those together and what do you get cracked screen replacement on my Lenovo T61. You probably can't tell from the shot here, but if I turn it on, it should become apparent. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to this, apart from, well, obviously it's got a crack in it. Not too bad. Well, you know, I say not too bad, but all cracks are annoying. Kind of goes down there, and got a big sort of a black blob thing. Not that great, but hey, it's still been usable at least, which has been nice, because would have been annoying if I couldn't use it at all, but yeah, so you can see the kind of black blob thing there. Not particularly enjoyable. I think what happened was that I shut the lid on a piece of popcorn kernel after I'd been watching movies in bed, so yeah. Always a good idea to check your keyboard or your touchpad or the top part of your laptop before you shut the lid. Despite the fact that this particular model, and I believe a few other ones as well from Lenovo and probably maybe other manufacturers, they've got a nice cast aluminium sort of backplate thing that goes across the back of the LCD, so you can't really crack the LCD by dropping anything on it or standing on it, but if you get something hard and spiky like a piece of popcorn or whatever that ends up sitting on the keyboard and then you shut the lid on it, it cracks the screen just great. So yeah, that's what happened, I think. Yeah, anyway, so I had to buy a new screen. Unfortunately I was able to get one on eBay pretty cheap. I saw some guys in America selling second-hand ones. Well, they say refurbished, but you know, second-hand. They're about $50 New Zealand, and I kind of thought, yeah, I could get that, but you know, you don't know what condition it's in. You don't know how scratched up the screen is going to be, or something. You don't know how many hours the backlight has had on it either. So I decided to buy a brand new one from China, which was, you know, it won't be an original, I suppose. Be another brand, but hey, it's okay. At least it'll have a brand new backlight, and you know, it should be all brand new. Obviously, you know, go with a seller with good feedback. You don't want to get some guy that's going to sell you rip-off panels that don't work. Some will do that, I think, or maybe they have had in the past. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah. I also decided to use this as an opportunity to upgrade the panel because, or at least hopefully upgrade it. That's my plan anyway. This particular laptop came in about 6 different screen configurations, I believe. 2 different widescreen types. One, I think, 4:3 ratio. Anyway, for this one, which is 16 by 10, this is the smaller of the 2 resolutions. 1280 by 800, I think. So I've bought a 1440 by 900 panel. Same physical size, obviously, but higher resolution. The laptop does support that resolution and higher, so as far as I know, there shouldn't be any hardware issues, hopefully. But we'll find out, I guess. So this will be how you replace the LCD on a Lenovo T61, and can you actually upgrade the panel from a random Chinese seller on eBay? Well, yeah, let's see what happens. So, oh yes, this got broken a couple of years ago in a bike accident, so that's not really anything to do with what happened to the crack. Anyway, so first things first, I mean I've already pulled this off. I had to take this out to look up the model number of the LCD and all that, check everything. This is not too hard to get off. There are 3 screws, one there, one there, one there, each one covered by a little round plastic sticky thing. You can pry those off. I used to use like a sewing pin. You can use a pointed end of a knife or something, or a small screwdriver, and I stick them onto a little, well, this is off a VHS tape from the label on that, so you got that sort of little plasticky kind of papery stuff that the stickers come off, and I find it's a good idea. You can stick things like that onto them, and that saves the glue and stops any dust from getting on the glue, so, and gives you somewhere to put the little things. So you can see there's little discs there. Those are the 3 little covers for the screw holes on that front bit. And we got the screws. Those 3 long screws go under that, and then 2 short screws go under these 2 little rubber bumper things that go in the 2 holes up there. So you got to dig those out with a needle or whatever, same kind of thing as well. Yeah, so basically just 5 screws. Oh yeah, there's some double-sided tape on the bottom of the panel here, just above the inverter and LEDs, and above the, I think, Bluetooth antenna. You can kind of just slide something thin in there and sort of loosen that up. Obviously, being careful not to damage the inverter board or to damage the LCD ribbon. The little screen hooks at the top, you have to make sure you get those out through the holes. Apart from that, everything else just clips on. You can kind of figure it out, work your way around, and just pull, and it'll come off, hopefully without breaking anything. The tabs are pretty resilient on this. Mine have all survived, which is kind of surprising. Anyway, and then there's a bunch of screws to undo around here. So 1 screw there, 2 screws here, 1 screw up here, 1 screw up here. I think the top one of these is for the panel, the bottom one of these is for holding the plastic back on, or holding the hinge to the backing, so I think you only need to remove the top one of these. The other 3 have already come out from taking this off, so I'm just going to get into that and see what happens. Obviously, first thing though, take the battery out. Obviously, well, hopefully it should be obvious. You don't really want to be unplugging things and messing around and accidentally turn it on and short something out, so take the battery off if you can. These yeah, it's good with a laptop like this because the battery is just easily removable. I'm not sure about ones where the battery's internal. You have to probably have to take the bottom off and unplug it. But with that kind of laptop, I think you probably have to pull half the keyboard off to get at the LCD bezel anyway, so you're probably going to be in the whole thing to start with. So not a big deal. Anyway, so what I'll do, let me think. I'll unpack this LCD first, and we'll see if it's okay. Hopefully it hasn't been damaged in transit or anything. I haven't actually opened it yet, but I'll just test that. Put this over here, and let's open this. So yeah, nice big box, fairly standard for these kind of things. So lots of tape, and it should be wrapped up in some decent packing materials and all that. I find most LCD sellers, the reputable ones, they usually do pretty good packing from previous experience. Pull that out. Yeah, so only took about a week to get here. It was express express delivery, which is quite good. Right, so there we go. You got the screen, panel, whatever, stuck in a bunch of bubble wrap. Yeah, they could have put some extra packaging in the box, I suppose. Would have been nice. Stop it flopping around in there, but hey. They got like 99.8 or so positive feedback, which was better than most sellers for this model LCD, so should be alright. Anyway. Well, I've certainly got a lot of bubble wrap here. Alright. And we've got all that there. So that looks alright. It doesn't look cracked or anything. So that all seemed to have done its job properly. Right, now let me just put that up there, I think. Put these over here. And then we can get to swapping this round. So obviously you want to be careful with these. Don't scorch the edges, like they say, the sticker, do not touch the tape, blah de blah, all that stuff. You know, this is where the that top part there is where all the connections to the panel come from the T-con board and all that, all the ribbon and the column and row drivers down the sides and down the top. So you know, you don't want to squash anything like that. You can damage the connections and then you get lines all over the screen, which is not very fun. So yeah, anyway, so first of all I'll unscrew this one and doesn't fit. That'll be better, I think. And yeah, take that off. Actually, I think I need to lift it up first. Otherwise, I won't be able to use the leverage of the screws holding the hinges on to push it back up again. I don't believe. So those are the 4 screws there, and now I should, I don't know, maybe you do have to undo all 5. Now this is the fun part, is unplugging everything. Now you've got the little keyboard light and part of the, I think, the Wi-Fi antenna that's up here on the top, so you've got to detach that. And then you can pull the side slightly off like this, and that will expose the connections. And pull it down, there we go. Okay, so that's got the back of the thing. I'm just going to leave it like this, prop it up against the table there. So just as just to make sure we don't tear this cable here. So first of all, I'm going to disconnect the ribbon from the old LCD. Sorry, this is pretty awkward. That just got this little piece of tape over the top to keep the thing in. You've got to pull that right off the connector. And then the connector itself, it's going to be very difficult to actually show this, I think, but I'll try to put some photos in, possibly, or give an idea of what's going on. Connectors do typically have some sort of locking mechanism, so that you can that you need to and we can take that sticker right off. That's good. They usually have some kind of locking connector. In fact, it even says that on the back of the panel here. It actually says attention locking connector. So make sure that if you just don't just pull it. If you just pull on the cable, you probably wreck the cable. So you need to undo the little tabs. So I'm just having a look to see what exactly those look like. I'm not entirely sure. Because there's various types of these, and not all of them undo the same way, obviously. So let me see. I really can't tell. Hang on, I'll have to get this out. I'm really not sure. I might just pause recording here for a moment while I try to figure this out, because it might take quite a while. I'm not sure how long, and I don't want to, make the video 3 hours long. It'll be a bit annoying. So hang on. I'll just stop here and resume after I figured out how to get the connector off. Well, that was a bit silly. That only took about 5 seconds. Turns out there was no locking connector whatsoever. Or at least the screen has provision for locking tabs, but the actual cable itself doesn't have any at all. So I just levered each end out with a tiny flat blade screwdriver. You just one at each end and just or you could just pull on the tape, I guess, but not a good idea really to pull on the cable. Better to just use a screwdriver or something at the connector and just work it out. If you only got one screwdriver, just work one end out a little bit, work the next one out, it'll just fall out. That's what happened there. So anyway, yeah, disconnect the cable first, and then we can set that back on the back there, so it can just sit there. And in fact, I could tuck it in there with the light just to make sure that it's out of the way, because we don't want to damage that. Now, next part is to unscrew this panel from the mounting things. So typically they have, we've got 2 screws here and we got another 2 screws on the other side, so quite simple. And of course I can grab hold of the thing, it's okay, you know. This one's already cracked, so it doesn't really matter. These are a little bit tight. Anyway, there we go. Take that off. Actually, I might do each side separately. Each side so I should do it alternately like this, otherwise it'll be more difficult, I think. Okay, probably could have just left that one till afterwards, but hey, whatever. That's alright. So that was the left hand side. I'll put that over there. And now we got the other one. Let's see. See the top there. And the screen can come down. This one is still attached to the hinge, that's okay. Oh yeah, that's riveted on there, so that can just stay there. And now we got the inverter cable here. Again, I can probably just lever that out with the put that up. Well, hang on. I don't know. Actually, I might have to disconnect the inverter completely first from the back of the thing to get access to the backlight plug. That's the inverter. Okay. And that's got its own little part of the cable. Actually, that should just pop right off. Yep. Alright, so it's got that out, and now actually we've got the entire thing free from the laptop. So I can actually take this right off here. And there we go. So I can unplug the CCFL plug just like this. Obviously, you know, hold it by the end there with the by the plug. These little transformers for the inverter are quite easy to damage, so don't want to break that or anything. Otherwise, you know, that's a so it's not a generic replacement. It's got all the status lights for the laptop on it. So break this, you probably have to buy a refurbished one, which could cost quite a lot. So yeah. Anyway, so there we go. That's the old cracked panel. That's Samsung LTN 141W1-L05. The one I bought was the LTN 141WD L05, so that's the higher resolution one. This one doesn't say Samsung on it though, even though this one does. This is the so yeah, that's probably just a clone or something. Other than that though, I mean, it should still be fine though. The only real issue is, will it work with a higher resolution? I've seen some stuff on the internet that says it will. Some people that aren't sure. Yeah, so hopefully it will work though. Otherwise I have to put this one back in and then buy another one. Anyway, So let's put that out of the way. It's not particularly useful anymore, unless this one doesn't work. Now, obviously now this is where we have to be quite careful, because the new panel is actually worth something. And we don't want to break it, so let's take that off. And let's see. Okay, gonna need to take this off. What's the best way to do that? Oh, there we go. I've already done it. Okay, take the this protective bit here. Being careful not to wreck that. There you go. So, yeah, I think I need to connect the inverter to this first, and then that all just goes back in there. So let's see, what's the best way to do this? Probably to screw this on first. Now that will go, which way will this go? That's a good question. I think it goes this way. It's the only way it can go. Or does it go that way? No, it must go that way. That makes sense. Okay, so it goes up this way. And that means that's the top there. So this comes down here. So that will go on to this end like that. And now we must put these screws in. And the screw does in fact fit the hole, so that's good. That's always useful. It's a good start. Okay. Now, I might actually put this over here, just to make sure we don't scratch it. And now I should be able to reconnect the inverter. So that's just a press-on connector there. Quite simple. And that screws on with one screw here. Oh. Anyway, best thing about this, well, best thing, I mean, what I'm trying to say is the trick to this sort of thing is just to take it slowly. Don't rush. Don't be hasty. Don't be silly. Obviously, you know, just take your time. If you run out of time, just put it aside. Go back to it the next day or something. Don't try to rush something like this. Or you are liable to break something, which is never fun. Okay. So I should be able to lift it up. There we go. Just making sure the inverter wires all make sense. Not sure how much space those have. Can that yeah, I think that has enough clearance. I mean, the last thing I want to do is squash the inverter wires, CCFL wires, against the back of the screen, crack it from that. That would be a bit silly, wouldn't it? But I think we're okay. Anyway, more to the point, let's plug in the actual LCD cable. and see if the thing works. I think I'll put that screw there back on actually. Just to stop that flipping around. Now, let's unplug, remove that from there. And now I have to somehow get this connector in under this warning label, which they have made quite large. Or is this slightly... I think the connector is slightly higher than on the old screen, so it looks like the cable is not long enough to fit in while I've got the back down. I think I'm going to have to take this from off here, so I can get it in. That's slightly annoying. Okay, let's see. This will be something a bit tricky, isn't there? Alright, let's try that now. Hold that with this end, push it in with this. Again, no locking tabs here, so that's nothing. It's one thing we don't have to worry about. Okay, so now I think if we lift this up, get the little hinge thing with a wire in there, and get the inverter back down underneath. You should be able to put all that back in. All right. converter there. And this one screws that in. Get the light back in place. I think the Bluetooth module back there. Okay. Now I'm just going to put a couple of these screws in at the top. Is that right? Seems a bit tight. I think that one might go down there. That's odd. These screws are all the same, but it's a bit of a tight fit getting it. Maybe I had it cross-threaded. That would explain it. Okay. Just gonna check that there. Alright, that should be good. Wait, let's do this one. Right, that should be good enough for testing anyway. So if I just put the battery back in. Try not to get it backwards. Okay. Now we can see if this actually works. So, time for the moment of truth. Have I, no, I've forgotten to put that sticker on. Bummer. Oh well. Doesn't matter. I'll put that in afterwards. The moment of truth. Does this thing actually work? Does upgrading the screen from 1280 to 800, I mean upgrading from 1280 times 800 to 1440 by 900, does that actually work? Will I get a nice display, or will I get a giant pile of staticky gibberish? Well, we're about to find out. Woohoo! Got a BIOS. That's a good start. Got a cursor, we've got grub, we've got grub. Okay. That's good. Okay, so that proves that at least it's somewhat compatible with the board. We've got BIOS on there, got boot menu. Sweet! That's brilliant. Have to boot into the operating system obviously and test if the resolution works, but I'm going to turn it off again and put that sticker back that I forgot. But that's a good start, definitely. And it actually powers up and it works and it's not cracked. So that's good. It survived shipping all the way from China. Brilliant. Alright then. Hang on a second. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me just take this out again. Just in case. And pull this back off again. I probably don't need to put the sticker back, but out of completeness and wholeness and perfectionism of some kind or something, or just not wanting to bother having the thing lying around on my bench and annoying me with its presence, but not being able to throw it away, because that would be an admission of defeat, then I shall make it my mission to put the sticker back. Alright. So, well, that's about it, isn't it? Let's put the battery back in for the second time. And let's see if it actually works in the operating system. Because a BIOS picture is all well and good, but is it actually usable in Linux and Windows? Oh, let my screensavers come on. Okay, well, it seems to look fine in that. No lag or anything. I'll have to rerun grub setup, obviously, to regenerate the correct resolution for that, because it's running at the old resolution. Anyway, that's good. No crack for a start. No big black blob. That looks actually the correct resolution. Looks pretty good. Let's see. Alright, well that's come up fine. I'm not gonna log in here, or at least if I do I'll blur it out until I can just show something blank, because I don't really want to show my personal desktop. Fortunately. So, but trust me when I say that it seems to be working just fine. Let's check that. That does actually look like the correct resolution already. And of course the backlight control works, but that makes sense because that's not handled by the panel anyway. Does that still work? Yep, that still works. Okay, so let me just check the... Just check the thing, where is it gone? Display. 1440 by 900. There we go. Look at that. Working fine. I'll just have a check here. But I definitely can't see any no weird no weird effects, no weird scaling thing. It's definitely running the correct resolution. Everything looks good. Nothing weird going on. So that's great. If it works in Linux, it should work in Windows. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much, if the BIOS detects it, if the operating system detects it, I think it's fine. I'd say if the display had been incompatible, it probably would have just been completely white or blank or just complete garbage in some way. And the fact that we've got anything on it at all, that's good. correct resolution came up first time. So I'd say that's pretty much done. I mean, yeah, it's great. So yeah, I took a gamble on. I was maximize. Hang on, let me see. I'll open up KiCad or KiCad. I can't remember which way it's supposed to be pronounced. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, there we go. I've got a schematic here or something. So you can bring that up. So that's a lot better. I can see a bit more of that at the moment. So I mean, there we go. I mean, it works definitely. So who would have thought an accidental screen breakage actually turned into an upgrade, which was pretty good. Yeah, I took a gamble on that. Didn't get any conclusive evidence that this would work, but majority seemed to say it probably would, and no one said for certain that it wouldn't work. There we go. So that's how to replace a panel on a Lenovo T61, and turns out you can in fact upgrade the resolution, and it will work. At least if you buy one from the guy I bought it from. I don't know if you necessarily would get a working panel from another seller, or if it would be compatible or not, but from this guy, I think it was Win0Win was his name. I'll link it in the description anyway, so you can have a look at that if you want to buy one yourself. But there you go. I also assume that a refurbished or second-hand panel of this resolution from an old, taken from a Lenovo T61 should also work. I don't see why not. This being a clone one, it should be pretty much, the EDID and everything should be exactly the same as the original one, even though the panel is probably made by someone else rather than Samsung. I have no idea, it doesn't actually have a logo on it. It had Win on it. It didn't say LG or anything else, so I don't know who made it, but it works. No lag, nothing weird. Pretty good pixel response time, I'd say. I don't know, about the viewing angle, it's, I don't know, debatable whether it's as good as the old one. Maybe the brightness is a little bit worse than the previous one, saying that, the angle is not as good. You get a bit bit more brightness down the bottom here and that, but maybe not up to IBM or Lenovo standards, but for general use it's fine. And also obviously I wanted the matte version because I don't like glossy screens, but there you go. Should be fine. So that's useful. That allows me to have a bit more readability with schematic diagrams and other stuff like that. Yeah, so I don't know. I could show putting this back on, but to be honest, I'm probably going to do some gluing to this first before I put it back. Seeing as I've got it off and all that, I might as well fix that crack there before I do anything else with it. So otherwise, I have to put it on and pull it off, and yeah, so I'll leave that for now. But that should be fairly obvious. You just slip that over the hinge hook things, press it all down till the clips all clip on, put the screws in, and put the little covers back on. So yeah, I mean, pretty simple thing. Shouldn't need a tutorial to show anyone how to do that. Pretty obvious. Just basically the hardest part is getting those little clips lined up. That's the only real difficulty. Yeah, apart from that as well, just glue that back together and do that later myself. But the tricky part is just replacing the screen, but as you can see, it's not that bad. Like I said, just take your time. Everything I think this is a quote from an IBM maintenance manual. Everything should go back together again without forcing. If it came apart, okay, it's maybe not a direct quote, but something like this. If it came apart without forcing, it should go back together without forcing. By all means, do not use a hammer. So there you go. Yes. Take your time, be careful, and everything should work out fine. So I've said that about 10 times. Anyway, so I should check to see if my Bluetooth still works. But yeah, let's have a look. Looks like it. Yep, still there. Okay, and I can run that. Yep, Bluetooth USB, so that's all still working. No worries. Great. So, yep. Like I said. Oh, like I didn't say. Anyway, if anyone has been wanting to upgrade their panel on a T61 or whatever other models of this laptop are similar, I'm not sure. Was it the T51 might be similar, or I'm not sure. Maybe not. But there's at least 3 of them, I think, or 4 possibly, that share the same kind of chassis and everything. So any of those, you should probably be able to do this for an upgrade. So I can confirm that this does in fact work. The resolution has definitely been upgraded. The panel seems fully compatible as far as I can tell. I suppose I should check Windows just in case. Yeah, let's boot up Windows and see if that works. That should work though. If it works everywhere else, it should work in Windows. But yeah, hopefully that would help anyone who wants to upgrade their panel. Hopefully you get the basic idea of how to do it. Most laptops is pretty much the same kind of thing. You just take the front off, you take the back off. Some of them, to get access to the screws, you need to take separate covers off for the hinges, and you have to take the keyboard out to do that. And for some, to take the keyboard out, you have to take half the front off, and to do that you have to take half the bottom off. So yeah, not all of them are this easy. This one is a pretty easy one. It's just taking everything off. I take the front off, and that is pretty much as basic as you can get. I don't think there are many that are easier than this to replace the panel on. But yeah, so hopefully that helps someone. Hopefully that confirms what I just said. This definitely can be upgraded, and hopefully you enjoyed it, learnt something, whatever. See what the hell is this thing doing? Messing around. I was probably confused because I hibernated it, and now I've resumed it with a completely different panel, and Windows is probably going, what the fucking hell did you just do? That's not supposed to happen. What the heck? Anyway, yeah, so let's just wait until Windows figures out what it's doing. Anything happening? No. Yeah, so Windows doesn't seem to like that. I'll probably have to do a reset. I don't actually know why it was hibernated. Can't remember. But I think I'll have to do a full reboot to make that work. More than likely, anyway. Come on. Come on. Ah. Good God. What is it doing? I don't want to say this is why Linux is better, but this is why Linux is better. So it looks like Windows is desperately trying to re-hibernate itself or do something bizarre. Okay. Well, alright then. Come on, Windows, you can do it. Can you? I don't know. Come on. Is there a reset button on this thing? There is not a reset button on this thing. Might just have to pull the battery. See, it's in standby now. For some stupid reason. Okay, let's try that again. I can't even remember what I was doing in Windows that I had hibernated it for. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. Okay, does Windows work? Windows 7, in fact. Start Windows normally. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Alright then, so there we go, Windows does work. At least if you don't hibernate it and then swap the panel and then try to resume. Because, not surprisingly, it gets confused. There we go, anyway, so... that all seems alright. I mean, the resolution looks correct, there's no bad image quality there or anything. All looks fine, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, Windows, Linux, whatever, all look good. So that's enough of this, I guess. I've been talking, I don't know how long this has gone along, probably an hour and a half. Hopefully I will be able to cut this down, editing, get it a bit smaller. Yeah, that looks about right. Let's check the desktop properties. Screen resolution. Oh dear. Come on, Windows. Come on. Yep. Display. ThinkPad display 1440 by 900. All works good. No lag, no weirdness. Great. So, cool. That's it then. See you next time.